Welcome to Spotlight Hustle. My name is Natalia Nicholson and I am your host and the founder of Women in Digital Business. Welcome, ladies. I'm so happy to be here. So, if you've watched the introduction episode, you know that Spotlight Hustle really has been brought to you to really inspire you and celebrate women that have got successful online businesses. The idea of the podcast is to really get you to understand the stories of some really great women. There are thousands, there are millions of black women that are rocking it and have got successful online businesses. And I just want to be able to share their stories with you so you can be inspired and you don't have to feel so alone in the dark, feeling like, can I really do this? Is this really going to happen for me? And all the self-doubt that we often have, and that imposter syndrome. This podcast really does exist to be able to help you contextualize and actually see women that look just like you doing what you want to do, just to give you that boost of confidence and celebrate our sisters as well. You know, when we look at mainstream platforms and we hear about, you know, stories of success and we look at the greats, we often don't see people like ourselves. Like when we're in the room and, you know, I'm often asked, I can only speak for myself, you know, who's your role model? You know, after you've gone through Oprah, Michelle Obama, the list, you know, after that starts to get smaller and smaller. You know, you just don't see much representation. And we do live in a diverse world. I'm a huge advocate for diversity. I believe in equality. But there is something special about black and something special about black women. We have got a really rich history. There is no other culture that has a history like ours. We really have been through adversity, which means as a people, we have a lot of grit and tenacity. As black women, we are at the forefront, always making sure we can rise our people up. And I want to continue that journey and help rise you up and celebrate our sisters that are doing so well. So again, welcome to Spotlight Hustle. So this is the first episode and we're going to be featuring 4 amazing women. Okay, we are going to be featuring number 1, Bea Dixon. We're going to be looking at Mellissa Butler, Lisa Price and Malik Till. These women have got amazing stories and you might have heard of some of them, and please don't go nowhere. We're really going to look at their journey and we're going to delve into the adversity that they have gone through and just take lessons from that and understand what can we do to make sure that we don't make those mistakes. Me creating this podcast, me featuring this women, a lot of it is also about learning from our mistakes as well, and also just being able to change our mindset and just see what it is to go through actually an idea to be in an actual profitable business and celebrating their achievements, like I said as well. So let's start. Bea Dixon, who created the honey pot. Bea Dixon loves everything about vaginas. Yes, I said it, ladies. You know, you can start a business in any passion that you've got. And what I love about Bea is that she had a problem. Okay, she had I can't get the words out. Oh my gosh! I can't say the words. Vaginal. I'm not even going to edit this. I'm just going to keep it really real because you're going to get used to this about me. Downstairs, vagina. She had, you know, an unhealthy vagina, one for better term. Okay, and she made her own product that was given to her from ancestors. And that's another thing about this community that I really want to delve into. We have got so much history, so much knowledge from our ancestors that hasn't been passed down, but for some of us it has. These recipes, these herbs, this natural way of living, and these things that have been handed down to us, they are a replacement of something that's natural, that exists out in the market, that's full of science, that has been made to capitalize on and make money. Okay, so I absolutely adore and I love Bea's story, because what she did is she's gone out and she's actually made a product with her own hands. It's completely natural, a formula handed down from her ancestors, and she has absolutely smashed it. But she's also passionate about what she does. And I think for me, the lesson in her story is that your passion will drive you to profit. It's all very well having an idea, coming up with an idea, but if you haven't got that passion or energy behind it, it becomes really difficult to see it through. And when times get hard, it's really easy to start thinking, let me just go for a promotion. Maybe I should go into this career. It starts to become about money. It's one of the things that we're going to be covering a lot, actually. You know, when it comes to money, essentially it is a piece of paper. You know, your value is what you can do with your mind and what you can make. That's your value. Okay, that's what values the most, more than money. Money is just the metric that measures, you know, how well you're doing. Just like, you know, meters is the metric that, you know, tells runners how far they're going to run. And that's the way to look at it. So without further ado, let's learn a little bit more about Bea Dixon and her story.
Can you tell everybody how Honey Pot even came about?
Honey Pot came about because I had an infection that I could not get rid of. And so the mother of invention is necessity.
Yes.
I went to sleep one night. I had a dream with one of my ancestors. She gave me a list of ingredients, told me that this would basically heal me.
Yeah.
And told me to wake up. And I remembered and wrote it down and made it, and it worked.
And it worked.
Yeah.
And that, they say, is history.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
So interestingly enough, I think one of the big questions for me is, you know, how do you discover your why? How do you discover that you want to be that entrepreneur? So let's look at the purpose of an entrepreneur. Like Bea Dixon gave us a really, really clear picture of the purpose, her purpose. And the mere fact that she had a dream and the actual formula was given to her in a dream by her grandmother, I just find that absolutely so amazing. I love stories like this because we talk about these things, but it's like, oh, did that really happen? Whether it did or not, that's her truth and it happened because she now has a fully blown profitable business. But what was the purpose of being an entrepreneur for her? And it was solving a problem that she had. And when she realized that she could solve that problem through all natural ingredients that were passed on for her, it was something that it was a need for her to sell to the world, a need for her to solve a problem that women had that had similar problems to what she had, and also to educate us around, you know, especially those of us that do know who our ancestors are and those of us that do come from Black communities. There's also a part of educating us as well about the magic, the glory, the knowledge that really comes from our ancestors and how rich. In terms of our legacy is so rich as Black women. It's unreal as Black people. And I think to find out your purpose of an entrepreneur, you've got to tap into your passion. It's not what about makes money. It's about tapping into that passion so it gives you purpose. Purpose is really, really important because you might want to do something because you want to earn X amount of money. But when the going gets tough, that starts to go out the window and you get that feeling of, is it all worth it? And it's really easy to start to procrastinate and fall into the failure cycle. So one of the things I really want you to do is ask yourself, what's the purpose of my product or service? What's the purpose of me being an entrepreneur? What is it that I bring to the world to make it a better place? What problem do I solve that has meaning, that has depth to you? Not to anybody else, but just to you. And I think Bea's story can really help with that. She's got such a strong message in terms of the problem that she had, wanting to solve it, you know, getting the answers, having a whole complete natural formula and giving her a purpose to help other women just like her and also help people understand that, you know, you can solve health problems without science and with natural ingredients. And it's a part of our history in terms of the Black community. You know, we got parted in slavery. Our ancestors have got loads of knowledge. Luckily for Bea, she was very much connected to her ancestors and they came to visit her and gave her the formula which started her business. So I really want you to think about your purpose. And speaking about Bea's dream, I really want to explore because it is a bit... Right, okay, so I grew up definitely in a household, like my mum is so jumpy. She's jumpy about everything. You know, my dad always used to tell me, in Jamaica, we call them duppy. And my dad always used to tell me, if you don't trouble them not gonna trouble you. And I've always grown up with that belief and that thinking, whereas my mum used to tell us stories of like spirits that used to be in the kitchen, like banging pots because they were angry about like how one of her aunts had passed away. And I always used to hear these stories and think, yeah, whatevs. I didn't really quite believe it. So Bea's story for me is really interesting. And when I first heard it, it was like, okay. So let's take a look and delve a little bit deeper into Bea and, you know, the spiritual journey that she went on and how her business idea actually came to her.
So I want to start with the inspiration for the company. Before the honey pot was a thing, you were a woman going through things that women go through sometimes. And your grandmother came to you in a dream and told you how to heal yourself.
Yes, that's precisely what happened. I had bacterial vaginosis, to be specific. And I had it for almost a year. Nothing that I did worked. My grandmother met me in a dream and very vividly gave me a piece of paper, had a list of ingredients, told me that this was going to solve my problem, and had me repeat those ingredients in the dream. And that's what I did. And when I woke up, I was literally repeating what she was saying over and over again. And I wrote it down and I made it within a few days. And 4 or 5 days went by of me using it and everything that I was dealing with went away.
So the fact that your ancestor visited you in a dream does not sound at all unusual to me, especially as a West Indian. But in business, it's very uncommon. Like, did you have any trepidation about including it as part of your story, putting it on your website, and especially standing up in front of investors or potential investors and sharing that with them?
No, I didn't, because that is precisely what happened. You know, in fact, I had trepidation around not saying it because there's been obviously in the history of our brand, there have been people that have questioned my story, right? I remember talking to a somebody that was giving me kind of PR coaching, and she basically told me like what my story sounded a little whimsical, and it didn't really necessarily sound believable, and and that I should probably change it up a little bit. And that was a quick way for me to say, this probably isn't the person that I should be dealing with, right? But also, it just rooted me more in who I was, and kind of gave me the grace inside of myself to keep moving forward. Anytime anybody has tried to, I don't want to say mute me or mute our story or mute the root of the brand, I'm more so, because that feels so unnatural to me. This brand is rooted. We are a vagina brand. The vagina is the root chakra. It's rooted in truth. It's rooted in abundance. It's rooted in in love and kindness and all the things. And in order for all those things to be, to me, it has to come from a really authentic place, and it has to be real. So it's not even an option to not say what really happened. You know what I mean?
I often wonder like how she felt about sharing that in the beginning. Like, did that just become naturally and confident? And she just seems like so much of a matter-of-fact person. I love that about her. And I think we could all learn about that. You just need to be real to yourself. Not everybody has to like you. It took me a long time to learn that. I mean, we know it. We know a lot. We're intelligent women and we know a lot, but we don't always implement. We don't always hold ourselves accountable, and we don't, always maybe respect where other people are coming from. But I do wonder, like, how easy was it for her when she came out just to be like, boom, yeah, my grandmother came to a dream, gave me the formula. I woke up, wrote that down, and the rest was history. Like, how comfortable was that? There's an uncomfortableness for all of us sharing our story. It's not easy. It's not easy to come on camera and talk about your story, your most personal inner thoughts, and think that anybody could tear them down, because they're yours. They belong to you. And I do think as women, and especially in sisterhood, it's important that we really do support one another. Everybody's story is different and it comes in different sizes and shapes. But you've got to learn to be able to tell your story, tell it with confidence. And if someone doesn't connect with you, whether someone wants to believe you or not, no matter what somebody thinks, if anything they think is of low vibration or negative, they're not your community. They're not your potential customer. They're not someone that you're trying to target. And I think Bea's confidence in that just shines through. She knows what her product does. She knows the problem that it solved. She knows how it was created. And she's really comfortable with that, and it comes through. And if you love that, you'll be a customer of hers. If you don't, she's not asking you to be. Not in a rude way, but I absolutely love that. But I definitely want you guys to just reflect on, okay, what's my story? And just get into grips in your own way, however you need to do it, to become comfortable to tell your story. And if it's not for someone and they disagree, you don't need to get into a debate. It's just not for them. Like I said, they're just not your customer. Let's go on to Mellissa Butler. Many of you may have heard about Mellissa. Mellissa was on Shark Tank. I remember seeing the series. If you do get a chance, go onto YouTube and type in Mellissa Butler Shark Tank, and you will hear Shark Tank telling Mellissa that her business would never go anywhere or amount to anything. Well, girlfriend, let me tell you, Mellissa Butler has absolutely smashed it. She has a company called The Lip Bar. It's a beauty company, and you're going to be seeing a theme today that these are all beauty and wellness companies, a sector that many, many women go into, and some women are frightened to go into because it's such a saturated marketplace. Don't be frightened. It's all about differentiating yourself and understanding who your customer is, because you are on the internet and the customer is so fierce. The more you drill down your customer and you're clear about who your customer and the segments are, the absolute better. So let's take a look at Mellissa Butler and her creativity and how she came up with the lip bar and some of her journey. Let's take a look. So I absolutely love Mellissa Butler, and in terms of her journey and the fact that she opened up Lip Bar, and it's not like she came from the beauty sector, by the way, whatsoever. It's always intrigued me to understand and know more about Mellissa in terms of her why. Okay, it's not like, she was into beauty. And I think that's one of the common themes that I really want to delve into in this episode, like looking at Bea Dixon, like how does it come about? There's always an uncertainty, and I want to make sure that from watching this episode, you can be more certain about your sideline hustle, your idea, your business. If there was any time to tweak anything, it's definitely in the earlier stages. You don't want to be like me, where you've fully launched and been going for years, and you've got to keep changing things to make it better. Best we do it now at this stage. So let's really take a look at Melissa's why. Like, why was it lipstick for her? Why was it that space that
Show was my favorite.
I know it's
How
your
do
jam.
you come up with these titles? Boss Lady, Brick House, Boy Trouble. How do you come up with the titles for the lips?
So the names, like I personally name every single product, and I get so much joy out of it. The whole goal is just to describe our customers and to remind people that women are not a monolith, right? So we can be a boss lady, we can be boy trouble, we can be first lady, we can be Madam President, we can be all things.
Yes.
And so that's really how I think about naming the product.
Now, I cannot imagine, and I've opened, sold, exited many, many businesses over the years. I literally cannot imagine, like, what does it look like to get to that point in a marketplace that you know absolutely nothing about, you've got no experience, and just bringing it to that place that, oh my God, you're making sales, oh my God, you're getting it to start to work. Like, what does it look like to have to scale a business of going like from your kitchen into department stores? Let's take a look. How does she overcome them? Like, some of my greatest challenges in businesses has just been, it's the money, man. I'm going to be honest with you. One of my greatest problems in business has definitely been conversion. It's having that vision, bringing it to life, going to the marketplace, branding, creating websites, building out funnels. And then now you've got to make yourself aware to people, get them to know about you, become a part of your community, keep providing content and turning that into a sale. I think for me, that is always the biggest challenge when I start a business. I'm definitely a creative and a visionary. So how do I bring that to that place that is actually going to bring people into my community, onto a platform, and actually get them to buy? I mean, I plan it out, it's in my strategy, but there's often something in the pit of your stomach that it's like, oh my God, is it going to happen? Can I get to that target? You know, and Melissa's story is so big from where she was and where she went to. I just wonder, what are her challenges? What are some of your challenges? Put it in the comments. It's interesting to hear what our challenges are. You know, do they have a common synergy? Are they all completely different depending on industry? I'll always say, and you're going to keep hearing me say this, sharing is caring. So the comment isn't just about engagement. Like, generally, I want to know, other people want to know, what are your biggest challenges within your business right now? The more we put them out there is the more that we can help one another. So let me know, what are your biggest challenges? And let's take a look at what Melissa's challenges were for someone that's gone from kitchen to selling in department stores, and I think, don't quote me on it, possibly globally now as well.
I took the lip bar on Shark Tank, and they were extremely cruel to us.
Aren't you worried if you walked into a bar with that color lip, somebody tried to resuscitate you?
So that's the story of Mellissa Butler. Absolutely huge story. And actually, we're going to be focusing a little bit more on her in a documentary that she appeared into, a Netflix documentary, on our next episode. So let's take a look at our third superhero today, which is Lisa Price. So I absolutely love Lisa Price's business. It really does remind me of Madam CJ Walker. I absolutely love this, and I think I'm going to be doing an episode that covers the story of Madam CJ Walker. If you're not familiar with that story, please go onto Netflix, go onto the internet, and please watch. I think it's a 4-part. It's a limited series edition of her life story, and it's absolutely brilliant. It just it warmed you up. She was the first female black millionaire, and her story is just, if you want to see a demonstration of grit, tenacity, and doing everything it takes, sorry, I have to go in there, to get to where she wants, it's an absolutely brilliant documentary. And Lisa Price, her product, Carol's Daughter, definitely reminds me of CJ Madam Walker. When it comes to the hair industry, and the black hair industry at that, woo! It is worth millions, billions. What am I talking about with millions? Billions of dollars. And guess what? We don't have much ownership of that industry. It's the weirdest thing ever. Multi-billion pound industry, and you won't see hardly any black owners on a large corporate scale at all. For many of you, you can see how my voice has even changed. For many of you, think about when you go to buy hair products, think about the shops you're going into. How many of you really recognise or see anyone of colour, considering our hair type is worth so much money in the marketplace? So for me, let's bring it up a bit. Lisa Price smashed it. And I'm a big advocate for her, and I'm an advocate of any black business that's selling any hair care or beauty products. And that's why I really wanted to start off the first episode with the hair, beauty and wellness market. Because we're definitely at the forefront of it. We just don't have a seat at the table. But we're going to change that here at Women in Digital Business. So let's learn a little bit more about Lisa Price.
I actually got to watch a dream come true and to live something that I dreamt about. And in that moment, I got to say to myself, well, now it's time to dream even bigger. Carol's Daughter began in my kitchen. It started with my love of fragrance and me creating my own fragrances. And then I wanted a moisturizer scented with those fragrances. I was working and listening to Oprah, and the show was about people who had started businesses from their hobby. There was this checklist that they were going through, and I just had this moment of realizing this thing that I was calling a hobby could actually be a business. My mom, Carol, was not a beauty junkie at all. She found it very difficult in the 60s to find something that actually matched her skin. It was my mom who encouraged me to sell at a church flea market 24 years ago. So I started out really small and grew the business organically.
So again, another business that literally started at a kitchen table. Are we seeing a common theme here, ladies? For those of you that have got products and you're manufacturing and you're making it yourself, did you hear what I said? You're manufacturing. Don't put down that because you're doing it in your kitchen or you're doing it from home, it makes it some type of home product. It doesn't. You're actually manufacturing. And actually, when you make a product, you're going to have the highest profit margins because you're not going through any middleman. And that's not to say those of you that are using a middleman to say that you shouldn't be. Different strokes for different folks. There's different types of business models as well. There is no one size fits all in this game. It's all about what does your audience want and what are the resources and the limitations that you might have and what's the best way for you to get to market. Okay, there's no right or wrong way. But if you're manufacturing something, it means that you've cut the middleman out and you're going to have quite a great hefty profit margin as long as you can get your product known and you can get the customers. Which sounds a lot easier than it is, but we've got this. We've got so much information and knowledge and inspiration to give you. You are going to definitely get there. So again, another business from the kitchen. So what does that look like in terms for her with hair of what challenges did she have to overcome from going from kitchen table to, you know, having a whole website where you're selling products and you're actually going out to market and selling it to other businesses? What do those challenges look like? It's a good way to start to prepare you on, okay, this is how big it's going to get and these are the things that you're going to have to do while you grow. Let's take a look.
There had been so many challenges that I had gone through: a recession, things just not going the way that you planned for them to go. I had lost my voice a bit, wasn't sure of who and what I was.
Oh, love it. Absolutely love it. Always so many challenges to get over, but I think challenges are the things that make us. Remember when I first came on and I speak about failing my way to success? I think our failures and I think the things that we get wrong and we have to rectify and get them right is actually what makes us. It's the making of us, and we have to keep doing that. There's many challenges to get over. And again, for Lisa Price, there's so many amazing moments in her journey. And it's really easy, ladies, to always look at the negative. You know, it's something to do with our mindset that we always look at the problems or we're focused on a problem more. When really great, amazing things happen to us, we tend not to ponder on them as long as when not so good things happen to us. So definitely with this story, it makes me feel like we all need to take some time out and, you know what, give yourself a big hug. Let me give you a big hug and just say, you know what, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of me. And I think as Black women, we really struggle with that. To get your business from a kitchen table, to get it to where Lisa Price got hers with all the challenges that she went through and came up, you know, it's hard from coming from the beginning not to always have that imposter syndrome, not to always have that confidence in yourself, but we have to take time out to celebrate. And for me, I feel like with Lisa Price, there's some amazing moments in her entrepreneurial journey that I feel like should be cherished and she should be incredibly proud of. And I want you to also be proud of yourselves. Let's take a look.
Being on the Oprah show, being able to meet Oprah, there's so many levels to how magical that was. Standing in the green room, looking at the pictures of all of the people that had been on her show, who actually were my customers, and realizing in that moment that I belonged where I was standing. A really big milestone occurred one night while scrolling on Instagram. I see a picture of our product and I realize that it is a display at the National Museum of African American History and Culture that credits me as a pioneer in the natural hair care industry. That was by far one of the most amazing moments in my career. And to see my name and my company's name and my product in such a beautiful place that tells our story in such an amazing way. I can't even find words to describe how fortunate I feel. Nothing greater than that. Nothing.
So are you feeling all warm and fuzzy yet? You know, I do. There's so many things I want you to appreciate about yourself and others. This really is a podcast for celebration. And when I'm probing you, I want you to really go away and, you know, it's important to have self-reflection. It's important to have accountability. You know, it's important to strive to be a better person and be a better character. But whilst we're doing all this being better with mindset, health, and every single area of our life, you know, you've got to be able to praise yourself at the same time as well. And I just want to praise these women, and I want you to praise yourselves. Amen. Let's go on to our final feature superhero woman today on Spotlight Hustle. That is Malik Till, the visionary behind Curl Box. What I absolutely love is the subscription model business. I'm a huge fan of a subscription model business. It's a really, really great way to go in terms of making sure you've got that consistent money coming in every month. But it's also a great way to service your customer as well by making sure they always have everything they need. Because, you know, girl, our hair is so important to us. Black hair is, like black love. You know, we love our hair. We embrace our hair. Our hair is its own story on its own outside of business or anything else. So that's why I absolutely love Mellissa. So let's learn a little bit more about her and her story.
Hi, my name is Mellissa Teal, and I am the founder of Curlbox. When I was graduating high school, I remember being so sort of frustrated because I didn't really know what it was that I wanted to do. I was in honors classes and I was around incredibly ambitious young people who knew exactly what it is they wanted to do. They were going to be lawyers and doctors, and I just felt so uncomfortable saying, I don't know. I just knew that it had to be creative, it had to be interesting, it needed to move me. And so I sort of took all these different jobs until I sort of figured out what it was I wanted to do. So I have always worked for entrepreneurs, and I think that I became attracted to their drive, their ability, and then I just had to figure out, okay, what are the things that I do well? I started in PR at the age of 25. I was an assistant to the VP of music, and the list of musicians that we worked with was incredible. I moved to Atlanta and I thought, it'll be easy for me to find a job. I'll just, I've got a lot of experience, I interview well, and I couldn't. It was the height of the recession. I couldn't find anything. My last business before Curlbox was a consulting business. So I was consulting brands sort of in the online space. That's where I'm very strong. And I took on a hair steamer business with my friend, and I started going to these hair meetups, and I was like, Black women are so desperate for access to great products and information and how to use it. And I was like, how do I bag or box this experience? Curlbox is a monthly subscription for hair care products for women of color.
So again, such a strong why, such a strong reason why she started her business. And I hope you're seeing a common theme. Like I said, money's not going to carry you through. You got to have that passion. You got to have that belief. You've got to have a why you're doing this. Why is it you want to make changes? Why you feel this is needed? You got to make change in your customer's life. I could keep going on, but I think you're definitely getting the point. So again, just really, really, really incredibly inspirational. This one's a little bit different. Okay, we've looked at feminine products. We have looked at beauty products and wellness to a point. And now this is really about hair. So this one's a bit different. So I want you to really notice the difference in terms of challenges, but not just the differences, some of the common things as well that they've all got in common, but then what stands out about the different marketplaces they're in. The hair market is a really crowded space, but there's not many people of colour in that space considering it's our hair that the products are for. So I really want to take a deep dive and just look at some of the challenges that she would have gone through compared to the others. Let's take a look.
The biggest obstacles that I have from transitioning from sort of a consulting business, companies in this space are 9 to 5. Every day there's something different happening. And so you have to be insanely organized. You have to have really good plans, and you have to have things in place when things fall apart, because things are going to fall apart. You cannot do it by yourself, so you're going to have to hire. For entrepreneurs, the hardest thing to do is to split your check, to share your earnings with others. It's very difficult. Something that I've said to people is that if you like the money that you're making today, when you start to divvy it up and get the help, you start hiring people, you now have freed up your time. I always say I am buying my time back. You can now make more money.
Woo! Malik had some obstacles that she came up against. And it wasn't just obstacles. You got obstacles in many, many industries. And it's also about solutions, not problems. But you do need to identify what are my obstacles. So those are the things that you need to think about. And we've all got red flags in lives. So sometimes you have to think, is this a red flag that, you know, I can overcome? Is this something I can get around? Creative thinking is really important when you're being an entrepreneur. If you have got something in your way that's blocking you, it's your job to figure out, how do I get around that? How do I get over it? How do I get under it? You know, just because you've got an obstacle in the way doesn't mean to say, well, you've got to stop and you can't go on. And sometimes in life, when you are getting frustrated, it's something that I do all the time. Just pause. Sometimes you've got to come at things with a really clear mindset and just start again and think clearly. So sometimes when you find you're in a place where you can feel either fear, you can either feel rejection, irritation, these are all negative emotions. It's good to just take a step back until your mind's clear, even if it takes a good night's sleep or a couple of good nights' sleep, to really think about, okay, how am I going to handle this? Because with creative thinking, there's always a way around something that gets in the way. And Mellika definitely had a lot of that. So let's look at the challenges that she came up, not just the obstacles. She had obstacles and she had challenges. So let's look at some of the challenges.
The risk of launching Curlbox was huge because I had no real contacts in the hair and beauty space. I literally started at zero. A few hundred people bought an idea. They purchased something not even knowing what it was, and then I was tasked to deliver month after month.
I think success means different things to different people, and I think you need to figure out what success means to you. You know, for me, Mellika comes from a PR background, and that really would have helped her with her business, just in terms of breaking the norms and the challenges. Like, I remember, like, this is not my hair, by the way. You know, I can admit it. I actually usually rock braids. I wanted a bit of a change for whatever reason. And I tried to get a hair that was more closer to my natural hair type, but it just kept tangling, so I've ended up with this, what's called the water wave. But anyway, enough about me. The point I'm trying to make, natural hair has come a really long way within our community, if you want me to be honest with you, and us embracing and us loving our hair. And I think that's a story within itself. And I think Mellika really understood how to sell her story and the experience of what she was selling than the actual maybe product itself. Make sense? Like, I'm 45, ladies, and I remember going into my first job after graduating at 21 to be told that, you know, could you do something more neater with your hair? You could never say anything like that anymore. But does that stop people thinking about it? You know, I've had to think long and hard about this. Like, you know, we've grown up as black women in a world where we've actually ended up kind of imitating Barbie to a point. But what's great about this day and age is we are reinventing our own Barbie. And I absolutely love that. We embrace all types of hairstyles, whether it's extensions, whether it's relaxing of the hair. But over the years, what I've seen is so many more women embrace their natural hair. I'm definitely one of them. Sometimes I have it out. Sometimes I have protective styles with the braids. Sometimes I've got the hair extensions. But what Mellika did in terms of getting us to embrace our own natural hair and provide us with a kit that we can maintain it and rock it, and the fact that we're more accepted in the world of who we are, we're no longer told to neaten your hair up or can't you straighten it out? You know, why is it so difficult? I literally remember being at school and children saying, oh, why does your hair feel like cotton wool? You know, we've all got different experiences. So I think, you know, this episode was a deep dive and taking a really good look into, you know, the women's health, the beauty, the wellness, you know, skin products, and now actually just that final one of looking at hair. So Mellika's been through a lot of challenges, but I'm interested to know what drives her success. What does she define as success? What do you define as success? Is it breaking norms like Mellika? Is it coming up with products that are made from naturally from the ground, from where our ancestors are from, and solving a problem like Bea? Is it being creative and being able to bring more diverse products to the marketplace like Mellissa Butler? You know, is it like Lisa Price where, you know, Carol's daughter bringing products that are made by us, for us to the marketplace and educating us around, you know, products for our hair? You know, Curl Box is very much a box that helps you deal with your own natural hair. You know, the two businesses, Lisa Price and Mellika, have got their similarities, but you can see they've got different customer segments. I want you to think about that and take all of that and reflect that back on yourself and reflect that back on your own business and just kind of give yourself more of a definitive idea of what your why is, what your passion is, what are you trying to change, what's your story, and really being able to look at that. But I want to take a look at Mellika, and I want to take a look at how she defines success and, you know, where her journey's really taken her to in terms of success and where she is today. Let's take a look.
Success to me is being able to make a living the way I want to make a living. If I will just work hard, give it my all, have faith, can this happen? And it's like, it can. When I first started to become financially successful, I cried for like the whole first year because I'm like, I can't believe this. This is the dream, you know? This is the life that I wanted. I was just like, you know, I want to have a life. I want freedom. I don't mind working hard. I'm going to give it my all, but I am in control of my calendar and my time. Even in my success, I'm still going to be failing at some things. I'm still going to be just learning some things. And I think sometimes the way that I have learned to do things right is by doing them wrong. I say you feel the fear, we all feel it, and then you do it anyway.
So, ladies, that's it for today. As you get to know me, you know that I can be a bit of a little Miss Chatterbox, so I don't want to keep you any longer, but it's been an absolutely amazing first episode, looking into the lives of Bea Dixon, Mellissa Butler, Lisa Price, and Mellika Till has been absolutely amazing. These women are really, really successful women. They are rocking, they are trailblazers, and they are an examples of how we can literally go from our kitchens, go into one room, go from a sideline hustle into a profitable business and a brand that is recognized and known. So I want to give a big for these ladies. I want to celebrate them. I want to give them love. I want to show you love, and I want you to be able to create your own brand story, your why. People buy from you because you got a why. You know, there's, you know, products on the market that these ladies, they've got competition. There's other products on the markets to what they do, but their stories, their experiences contribute a lot to their success and their why. I can see myself in many of these women, so I just want to celebrate them, and I want to celebrate you. So take today's podcast, just think about yourself and just take it back and strip it back to the beginning. We are going to work together and make sure that whatever business idea you've got, sideline hustle, startup, you know, you're trying to scale and make it into that business that you want. We're going to go on a journey together to really uncover the things that you're going to need, give you the tools, give you the resources. So Women in Digital Business has got your back. My name's Natalia and I've got your back, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.